What do you get when you mix a health coach and a wellness coach mixed with a lot of curiosity? You get two people who ask a lot of questions about health and wellness. Today we ask, how does food dye really affect you?
Today we talk to Mandy, who has changed the life of her family by becoming dye-free. So let's get started as we ask.
Wait, what? Oh my
Hi,
gosh.
Leah.
I feel like every time I record with you, I'm in a different spot in my house. Someday I'm going to get my life together and it's all going to look professional like you. Until then,
Well, you know
we're
what's fun for me is I get to see little parts of your house all at once, and then I can kind of get a picture of what your house looks like.
it's because it's always it's a cluster. You never know where I'm coming from or who's it's just nuts. One day I'm going to have a
You
spot.
have a very normal life, I
I
think.
hope that's what you're going to say.
Hmm.
Well, good segue into our guest today because I feel like she has a normal life too. She
Hmm.
probably has her stuff together
Do.
more than me, but
Oh, my stuff is not together. I can
okay,
guarantee
good.
you that.
So
But
we won't no judgment then. All right. So my
okay.
this is my friend Mandy. I'm Mandy Townsend. I'm super glad that she has agreed to join us today. She is a wife, a mom of three. She has two girls and one boy. She works full time as a parapro at my sister's school actually, and
Hmm.
that's how we met through my sister. And I've been following
Wow.
her on Instagram, and her and I both follow the I don't know if you do yet, Kamna, the To Die For documentary.
No.
Hmm.
So I started following them after I started following the Food Babe. Mandy, do you
Okay.
follow the Food
I
Babe?
I do. I started following the Food Babe after To Die For
Okay, and I
documentary.
think I
Yeah.
did it in reverse.
Yeah.
And then I noticed on accident that you are on a journey with your family, a
Hmm.
dye-free journey. So I told
Yeah.
Kamala, like, I want to ask her if she'll join us. So welcome to our podcast. We're
Yeah,
so glad you're
welcome.
here today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know,
And
Um.
where do we start? Go ahead, Kamna.
so I think the story that you're about to tell us is really important because, if as I was Googling about food dyes, it says there's no real data, it's safe for use, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, this is so confusing because so many other things point to it's dangerous, carcinogenic, it causes
Yeah.
anxiety, depression, ADHD. Like you hear the whole gamut of things and you
Hmm.
think, is how can there be a connection if the government is telling us that it's safe for use?
Right. I
So
know.
it's confusing. So
It's
let's
sad.
before we even get into that, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So you're a mom of three.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
how old are your kids?
I have Charlotte, who is 15. Benjamin just turned 13, and Hazel just turned 7 on Saturday.
Oh,
Um,
happy
and
birthday
Hazel,
to
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. The December babies.
So
Um,
your oldest two are
yep.
teenagers. Did
Hmm.
they have, well, I don't even know. Is that where you want to start, Kamna?
Yeah.
I want to start from how you figured out that there
Okay.
was an issue.
Okay.
Yeah. So Hazel has always had big emotions. Like she feels everything so deeply. Um, and there was really nothing out of the ordinary from like I don't know, not birth, but when she's up walking around toddler 2 years old to like 5 years old, there was really nothing out of the ordinary that made us think that food dyes were affecting her in any way. But the summer of 2023, which she was 5 and a half then, she started having these emotional tantrums. It wasn't just like an angry, I'm stomping off, I'm angry toddler tantrum. It was like uncontrollable, throwing herself on the floor, hitting, kicking, screaming, like inconsolable. It was like something that I couldn't comfort her for. She just had to eventually, it was like an out of body experience. Like she would just have to have this tantrum and then she would slowly come out of it and then be calm again and start apologizing for the way she was acting and she doesn't know why she was doing it. So we knew as parents that something wasn't right, I guess, because
Mhm.
that's not like we hadn't seen that type of behavior in our other kids. Sure, they had fits and tantrums, but this was just something that we had never seen before. Um, so we talked about going to see our pediatrician, but kind of had a feeling that if we did talk to him, he would probably want me to like track her food and kind of see what she was eating. And he's an amazing pediatrician, and I just knew that's where he would start because we had seen him for
Mhm.
other issues with my kids before. Um, so I started tracking everything she ate,
So
probably in
before
the
the
middle.
doctor's appointment, you were like
Yeah,
chocolate.
but because I knew he would probably ask for that, and I also, I guess I know that everything, not everything, but a lot of things do end up leading back to diet.
Right.
Is So I was like, let's start there. And I can't tell you how easy it was, fairly easy to pinpoint this is what's causing it. I tracked everything
Did
for
you
2.
know before you went to the doctors?
You know what? We never even went to the doctor. I tracked everything she ate for 2 to 3 weeks, and I was able to, every time she had one of these tantrums, I was able to go back and look and be like, oh my gosh, she had, I don't know, maybe Fruit Loops or something, like
Oh,
24 to 36 hours before she would have one of these meltdowns. Like it wasn't within a few hours. It would always
Oh,
take at
wow.
least 24 hours. So it was in her system for that long, and then, it would start affecting her. Um, and so yeah, we tracked
that's so
everything.
surprising that
I
you're
know.
saying you ingest
Yeah.
it and then you have a reaction, but you're saying that that's not
Yeah.
what happened to her.
No, every time it was at least 24 hours. And I could always trace it back to something that she had with dye. And it wasn't just like, you always hear about red dye. And I guess when I originally like would think about dyes and like red dye, that, it's linked to like hyperactivity and bouncing off the walls and kids are crazy. I've never heard it like talked about with something like the emotional tantrums that she was having.
Mhm.
So I mean, I was blown away. And even my husband, he was like definitely very skeptical at first.
Okay. That was one of my
Saying
questions
sometimes
for you.
men are just harder to get on board with that type of
Yeah.
thing sometimes. Um, but I remember the here he is. He's probably like, "You're talking about me," telling him I was skeptical about this at first. Um, but I remember so yeah, we tracked everything for 2 to 3 weeks, and the deciding factor where I was like, okay, we're done. Like she cannot have these anymore. We went to Target. Her and I, we ran in. We just had to get a birthday gift, and there was a toy that she wanted, and I was like, no, no, we're just here for the gift. And as we got up to check out, like she slowly started escalating, and by the time I was like pulling into checkout to scan my items, like she was screaming, she was kicking the cart, she woke up a sleeping baby. I remember I was sweating. It was like the cashier was trying to help me, people were watching, but it was awful. There were 2 men that like came over to like talk to her because she was actually like, I'm not leaving with you. And I know they probably thought I was trying to steal her from the store. But it was awful. And I remember I got to the car and I battled her into her car seat, and I called my husband and I was like, we are not, like, we're done. Like, and like probably 36 hours before that, she had my husband made the kids like floats with grape soda and vanilla ice
Oh,
cream. And so obviously that's full of garbage, but also full of dyes. And so um yeah, I called him so he could hear her and what was going on, and I was like, we are done. And I cried the whole way home,
Oh
and she
my
kicked
gosh.
my seat the whole way home, and she screamed and she cried the whole way home. And so that's where we kind of started. And
Well, first
huge
of all, I
like,
want to, I
yeah,
have to stop you and say, one, I've been in those spots and I've also
yeah,
been another parent and been like, I hate to admit this, but I've been like, wow, they can't control their kid. Like I have
yeah,
thought that about sometimes, or I've
yeah,
thought like, oh my God, that poor kid, the poor family and those kids just throwing temper
yeah,
tantrums. And I've seen so many kids do that at the school I'm
hmm,
at. Like
yeah,
I've seen it.
yeah,
yeah.
And whether or not it's judging from a bad place or from just a place where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're acting like that. Like, doesn't matter. But first, and that was the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say
hmm,
is I think that it's very, like, I don't mean this in a condescending way, very brave of you to tell that story because that's one of those stories where, as a mom, you go, I don't want anybody to know my kid acted like that.
I
Yes.
know, I know. But we can all relate to that at some point,
Yes.
like whether it wasn't like so severe or whether it was like super, like we've all been there.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Where you want to,
yeah,
and but also I've been there where I want to pull my kid by the arm and be like, get the like Like, that
Yeah.
anger part of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the emotional letdown where you just sob your way home, like, that's so vulnerable that you shared that. So I first of all,
Yeah.
thank you for all of that. But
Sure.
36 hours, how long is that?
Yeah. The 12, a day
That's
and a
A
like
half.
day and a half,
Like a
a
day
full
and a
day
like,
half.
and a half.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just wanna pause again and say, do you know that kids are eating dye every single day?
Every day. And well, like that's the thing. Like I like all children aren't affected by this. Like my older two, like
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
they've like it doesn't affect them. Like it doesn't visibly affect them. Like who's
Right.
what it's doing to their things inside obviously, but it doesn't like visibly affect them.
So you never
Well,
Um
noticed
it
any little thing with your older twos, like maybe different
no,
attitude,
not
nothing, okay.
and
no,
I think what happens
no.
is when
I'm
there's behavior like that, you start blaming yourself.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I'm not
yeah,
a good mom. I give them all the stuff, or they ate this and I let them, and the guilt is just
yeah,
overwhelming.
yeah,
Yeah. Or you think,
yeah.
"Oh, I've really spoiled this one." I don't know if you thought this, and I don't wanna put words in
Well,
your mouth.
yeah, she's my,
Like, she's the
I say
baby,
she's my
so
third child. She's the
yeah,
baby. What did I do? What did I do wrong? And granted, she's
right,
probably still a little bit spoiled, just being the third. But
right.
Of
like
course.
the thirds just like that. They think they're
Wow.
entitled, and
Okay.
yeah.
So literally you could nail it to any dye, any food dye.
Mhm. Yeah, not just red. It was blue. It was yellow. Yeah, yeah.
So then what was the next thing you did?
So we obviously we removed everything. I took everything out of the house that had dyes in it.
Oh,
Figured
Oh,
out
you went,
where
like, cold turkey.
it was cold turkey. And like the thing about it, like it was hard for Hazel and it still is hard for her, but she knows the way that they make her feel. Like
Oh.
she's compared it to like it's like she has a line of people screaming in her head. Like that was her
oh
words,
my
what she
gosh.
compared it to one time. So she gets it. Like she knows what they do to her, and so she's pretty okay making the adjustments to
I
not
mean, we're
have
talking about a
them.
6-year-old who could tell the difference, 7-year-old now,
Yeah.
but she can tell the
Yeah.
difference when she has it.
Yes. Yeah. When she slips into this, it's almost it I think like I said before, it's like an out of body experience. Like I don't know who this child is when she's having it and she doesn't know who she is either. And then all of a sudden she just calms down and it's done. And I mean she's obviously still super emotional, but like our thing is after she's come out of it, if she's had dies, we read and we just read a bunch of books and we sit and we do something calm and then we kind of
Wow.
just talk about like, yeah. And I do everything I can to make sure she doesn't get dyes, but there's definitely some slip ups, like sometimes
Of
things at
course.
school. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that something was wrong when you started to do the food journal? Or did you think that
You know,
something else?
I had always like I said, I've always kind of heard about not heard about, but like, I knew about food dye, so I thought possibly like but
Mhm.
again, just thinking like you hear about red 40 all the time, like it's just red,
Right.
red, red, but like it was every single like she could eat something that didn't have red in it and she reacted. So, yeah.
So,
Wow.
alright, so now you went cold you cleaned out your
Yeah.
cupboard, you went
hmm
through and read labels.
Yeah, so we took everything out, figured out where we were gonna shop, like, and to be honest, it's not like there's a lot of things out there that they can have that don't have dyes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Aldi's, everything at Aldi's that's like their Clancy's brand is dye free. Like they took dyes out, I think back
Oh,
in 2015. Um, Trader Joe's is no dyes, like no synthetic dyes. Um, so everything that they use is like from natural resources, plants, spices, things like that. Um, and then Walmart actually just started carrying, I don't know if you've seen it, the Better Goods brand.
mhm.
I haven't,
Um,
no.
yeah, so it's like a healthier line, but everything is free of, artificial synthetic dyes. It's
So
great.
how long did it take for you to remove the stuff from your house to see a change in her?
Oh, um, honestly, immediately because like I said, if she the only time she had this reaction was if she had something with dye. So I got rid of everything like right away. So like we
Mm.
started seeing changes immediately. Like the meltdowns, the major meltdowns like that were gone.
Wow.
Which is it's crazy that like we're still just mind blown. Like she had like she had a slip up at school last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Um, I keep a box at school with like treats in it and snacks in it. And I have a label on it just saying, it says, when in doubt, switch it out. So if anything that the teacher's questioning might have dyes in it,
Mm-hmm.
she goes in the box and she gets something out. And her teacher's amazing. Like she also went and bought her own snacks too for Hazel. But she wasn't there at school that day. And a little girl brought in a birthday treat and she brought Hazel like a different one. It was like she brought in those little Debbie like Christmas tree brownies that are so
Oh,
good. But they're green and red. And so she brought in like a white snowflake little Debbie for Hazel. And she said, my mom said this is dye free, so you can have it. And it was a sub that day. So the sub didn't know. And Hazel's like, okay, her mom said I can have it. And
Well, it's white. I mean,
it's white, and it did. That's what Hazel said. It was white. So like she was telling me the story after school, and we were happened to be in Walmart because I feel like we're always there, and I was like, we walked by an end cap, and there were like a display of Little Debbie snacks, and sure enough, there was a white snowflake brownie. I'm like, Hazel, is this what you had at school today? She's like, yeah, that's it. And I picked it up and it has tiny little yellow sprinkle, like tiny, like almost iridescent yellow sprinkles on it, just like a shimmer. But so sure enough, on the back, it was like yellow, and I think there was blue in it too, or maybe yellow and red.
because
So I was like,
people
oh,
probably only look for the red.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh,
As
man.
a
And
as a
so,
yeah, you're right. Anyway, go
yeah,
on. Sorry.
yeah, no, you're fine. And so I was like, okay, well, like, I don't want her to slip up and have dyes, but in a way, it's kind of like, okay, let's see what happens. Like,
Part of life too. Yeah.
yeah, let's see what happens. And so, um, again, like 24 hours later, she, I had thrown I had thrown something in the trash can that she made at school, and she found it. I didn't bury
Oh.
it deep enough, and so I was in the other. We've all done that.
Yes.
And so I was in the other room, and I heard her like immediately. Like I knew that it was going to be that. Like that's the thing that set her off. Like it's not like it just comes out of nowhere. There's something that's gonna she's gonna be mad about, and normally she would probably handle it okay. She'd be mad, but we'd get through it. But like on the dies, like she just can't handle it. So she had this, you know, meltdown, and it probably lasted about 10 minutes. And I actually recorded it because sometimes I feel like people think maybe they don't think, but in my head, I'm like, they just think, oh, she just doesn't want her to have food dyes, but she probably can. Like, no, like it really is so bad. And so I recorded it, and it just confirmed to me again why we do this, because it was such a small amount of
Right.
dye, those sprinkles, and it still caused her to react that way.
Wow.
Um,
Also,
so
all the mom guilt that we have as moms, like like you shouldn't have to justify any way that we feed our own children, but
Yes.
we
yeah,
all do that too.
not
Like,
that I'm gonna
Yes.
like go and show
right,
everybody,
but
but
no, I totally
you
get where
know,
you're coming from. Don't you
yeah.
kind of like,
No, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
It's almost like the people shame you into saying, well, let them have a cupcake. It's just one cupcake. Or why can't they have what everybody else is having? Or it's just a little bit of color. It shouldn't be a big deal. But as a mom, that's not good for your kid.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a big deal to her when yeah. It's a big deal for all
So,
of us in the house when it happens.
yeah.
but that's what I
Yeah.
was going to ask you next is, did you all then stop eating the dye?
So I don't bring anything into the house that has dyes in it.
Okay.
I have two teenagers, so it doesn't affect them the way it does Hazel. So if they're out, they will get something that might, you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like I don't keep it from them.
Right.
Like their friends might buy them a treat for their birthday that has dyes in it, and we just, I mean, Hazel can, she sees that it's here. She just knows she can't have it, and sure, it does make her angry sometimes. She's not mad at the food. She's mad at the people that make the food. That's her big thing. Like
oh,
she's mad at the companies,
I
the people
love
that
that
make the
fire
food.
in her.
Yeah. Yeah. She is. Yeah. Yeah.
So
She
then
was so
when you
fiery.
when you go out, like if you're
Oh,
at a birthday party or if you're at a
hmm,
bowling alley or somewhere
yeah,
where like you don't know what's in the food,
yeah.
what do you do then?
Um, Typically, like if we're at a restaurant, we're ordering dinner, like that type of stuff is typically like fine. But like a birthday party, she just went to a birthday party this past weekend, and I just pack her something. Like I had
Okay.
cake pops that I had made for her birthday from school that she just took one of those, and um, or like treats at school. I have treats at schools covered because I keep her food basket there. So birthday parties and like social gatherings, I usually always pack her something to have.
Okay.
Um, and
But I
then
guess if you're
like,
going to someone's house for a play date or a family thing, you probably bring
yeah,
your own snacks as well then.
right. Yeah. But I mean, I also have like such amazing family and friends that if we're coming and they always try to get something that they know that she can have too, which is wonderful.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's nice to have that support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so did you and your husband notice any difference in yourselves?
Um,
Good question.
I feel like I want to I don't think we did.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm so like neuro spicy anyways that I feel like I have so much going on. I don't feel like I did. No, and I think he would probably say the same. I wish I could say that we did, but
I
yeah,
can
like I said, it
I
doesn't affect everybody.
I have shared on this podcast before, and I hope to God my husband never hears me say this. He is addicted to Skittles. Bad.
Mm,
Like a bag almost a day. Like bad.
yeah,
It's his vice. But he used to smoke, so this is what he chose
yeah,
instead. And when he doesn't have it for 3 days, there is 100% difference in his personality. He is a different person. And my
yeah.
kids have noticed it. We have all noticed it, and we've all told him that. And when I tell him that, he's like, that only affects kids. And I'm like,
Hmm.
hmm, are you sure
No.
about that? Because we have
Yeah.
all noticed a difference. That's why I was wondering if
Yeah.
you guys have noticed
Yeah.
anything at all. Because, and it's not that he obviously isn't throwing a temper tantrum like your daughter, but as an,
Right. But we'll like, yeah.
like,
He has
I think
different.
it impacts people so differently.
yeah.
When when my daughter was, I think I've shared with you, Leah, when my daughter was very young, she used to get these hives. And so we started eliminating all kinds of foods, and I couldn't figure it out because it was just she would be fully hived, like head to toe hives. And then my husband said, it's probably the food coloring. And I was like, oh my God, this like you know how something just clicks in your brain that this is the thing.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
started eliminating, well, at least the red dye. I didn't really at that time don't know enough, but it seemed to make a big difference. And it could
Yeah.
be something she touched or ate or used.
Hmm.
Is that true for your daughter too, or is it just ingested?
Oh, that's a good question. Like shampoos or soaps.
Yeah, so I do everything dye free for her.
Hmm.
We normally there was like a period of time while after we had stopped using dyes that for some reason we had laundry soap. It was blue, and I did notice a difference in her. Not so much like she wasn't having the tantrums, but she was super angry. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is it. And so then I switched back out to the Tide Free and Clear, and yeah, so I do toothpaste, her soaps, shampoos, her laundry soap,
Like
everything.
I was just thinking of like the little things that I haven't thought about, like my Dawn dish soap that sits on my counter that I use.
I
It's
know.
blue.
Yeah.
It's blue.
It is blue. I know. Every like your hand soap, like to wash
Yes.
your hands. Yeah. Yeah.
So many things have color in them.
And I like how you clarified to us that like your other kids might have something, but you can't see it. Like we have no
Right.
idea what dye is doing to us.
Right. I know. Yeah.
Well,
It's
I
sad.
did look
It's so
this up a
sad.
little bit. It said particularly red dye 3 could be banned in a few weeks, but it's linked to thyroid cancer in animals and behavioral health issues in children. It's also
Mm,
no potentially a carcinogen, and the conditions that are exacerbated by dyes in children, particularly because their bodies are more affected: hyperactivity, inattentiveness, restlessness, sleeplessness, irritability, and aggression.
yeah.
It's
It's
unreal.
And
it's
this is
awful.
not
And
even
it's
the
I think it's
long-term
like
impacts.
Yeah.
it's like even worse that like, oh, now it's finally coming up like in the US that this could be banned, but in other countries like, you know,
Mhm.
the European Union, I think like they're already banned. Like they're, you know,
They
it's
know
so
it's not good for us.
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that just blows my mind. So,
Hmm.
okay, so now what do you do now? Like, are you constantly researching things? Are you like, do you feel like it's taken over your life?
No, I feel like at this point, no, not at all.
No?
Like I feel
Okay.
like we're just into such a routine with it that, you know, we all kind of know. And um like I know it can seem super daunting to parents, but there really is a lot, quite a bit out there that, you know, you can adjust to make it dye free. Like there's usually always a dye free option. The thing is it's not going to be the cheapest, unfortunately.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
wait.
but
What
like
about cough medicine?
yeah, so that's another one. Ibuprofen, they do make a dye-free one. The Equate brand makes a dye-free, like, oh well, ibuprofen, I guess we're talking first. I'm sorry. I just jumped right ahead. Ibuprofen, we
No.
always get dye-free. They do make dye-free ones, but like amoxicillin,
Mhm.
um, call
Oh,
the
yeah.
pharmacy ahead of time to make sure that they have a dye-free option available.
Oh my gosh. I never
The
like,
impact is, like, so, all over the place.
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
about
and
like
like
as an
that's something
adult? Like I
like
take Advil and it's blue.
it is
Is
blue.
that
I
got blue
know.
dye in it?
Like your ibuprofen capsules are coated in, you know, that red coating. I know.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah.
My Advil is blue. It's really
Yeah.
pretty color, I'm just saying.
It is beautiful.
So,
Yeah.
is this really expensive then to be dye-free?
No. I truly don't feel like it is because Aldi is like, you know, number one
Yeah.
super saver store right there. Like everything's fairly reasonable there. So we primarily shop there. Um, we don't buy a lot of name brand stuff, I guess, because that is primarily what a lot of that has it in it. So a lot of the
Mhm.
Walmart Equate stuff won't have dyes in
Hmm,
it. I don't know. Not
that's
Equate. Yeah,
interesting.
Equate. I think no, Great Value. They're Great Value brand. Yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss. Sometimes they do, but usually, you know, a lot of those can be, yeah, Amazon is, you know, I can
Okay,
always
so
Oh,
you
get,
yeah.
order stuff
yeah,
from
like a lot
Amazon.
of the candy, I think, what is the brand? Yum. I have candy over here because she loves candy. I mean, we all love candy. She's a kid.
Yeah.
So we have like our dye-free Skittles. They're called Giggles.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah, you posted on your Instagram about them.
yeah, yeah.
They're dye-free.
What do
I'm
Um,
you
getting them for Christmas for my husband.
what do you do for Halloween?
she's the chocolate. Like she saves the other stuff and she'll put it aside for her siblings. And she
Okay.
just
Oh.
eats the chocolate stuff, and then I buy other stuff for her to have.
Mhm.
Um, like gummy snack wise because she loves
Mhm.
gummies.
Yeah.
Like the Black Forest brand gummies, those are dye free. They sell those at Aldi's.
Oh, I saw them at
Um,
Target this week, and
yeah,
I looked at them and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I've ever recognized that brand.
yeah. I think most of their gummies are dye free, but it's just a lot of reading, but you just get used to
Have
it.
you found any of this to be challenging?
The only part that's really challenging is like maybe the stuff at school. Um, like when her classmates can have like, you know, that fun birthday treat and she has to have something different. Or like even just today, she needs to bring in white frosting. They're gonna make gingerbread houses in class, and she is this each kid has to bring in like a tub of white frosting, but I couldn't find a tub of white frosting that didn't have dyes in it at Walmart.
Yeah, they probably have what,
Um,
yellow or
yeah, yellow, blue. So we'll just make frosting and take it in. So I mean, it is a little bit of extra work sometimes, but I
Yeah.
mean, it is
it's all
okay.
the it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
well, you got to think about it. There are so many peanut allergies out there that they go through
yeah,
this very same situation in
Right.
different situations.
yeah.
So I mean, it's really just not, I don't mean just another allergy, but it's just okay. So wait, I want to go back to your pediatrician because I think some
Hmm.
pediatricians would not, they'd kind of like brush you off, like, oh, you could try
Or
it, but. You
Yeah.
Or they might
No,
misdiagnose you with and put you on medication
Yeah.
for
right. And I
hyperactivity
think
or
Yeah.
that's kind of what we were like thinking when this was all first happening is like if we go to the doctor, like I'm sure I know he'll want to like probably look at her diet, but then he might suggest like, ADHD or something like that, which totally fine, but if we were able to like pinpoint it before then, great. Um, but no, we honestly haven't talked to our pediatrician about it. I mean,
Okay.
I feel like we have it so under control here,
It's not
that we
anything
just
to even.
haven't even no.
so you haven't
Yeah.
had her
But
tested for anything.
I haven't. No. I mean,
Do they
there's
test for
the
food
teacher.
dye?
Well,
Oh,
allergies.
But
yeah.
I don't think they do. Alyssa just had a full allergy, like the full whole gamut, and there was not anything for food dye.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think there is one. And by the way, don't
Mm.
quote me on that, but I don't think there is one yet.
Mm.
I don't know.
It's another
I
thing
want
to
to look
research.
into that. Hmm.
Yeah.
Ha-
But I do know our pediatrician. Like he's so wonderful, and he would 100% be on board. Like
Yeah.
without a doubt, I do know that.
Hmm. Oh, also for me, I know, and I still do it because whatever. When I have a snow cone and I buy my snow cone flavors, they've dye in them.
Yeah.
I don't sleep good that night, but I still eat them because
Yeah.
I freaking love them. But
That's so funny. My son, that's so funny.
I notice it.
So yeah, no, and yeah, they all have dyes in them. But so Kona, I think that's like the big snow cone truck. Um,
Yeah.
my son just started running cross country this past fall, and so like at the cross country meets, the big thing is to have like a Kona truck.
mhm.
And so I had read that sometimes if you ask, like behind their little window, they do carry a couple of dye-free syrups. And so the first time we went to one, they did have, I think they had three flavors. They had like raspberry, cherry, and then pina colada. So she was able to have a snow cone. And so like the next time we went to another cross country meet, and she was like, "Can I get a snow cone?" I was like, "Yeah." So this Kona truck didn't have any. They didn't
Oh,
have any dye-free
Oh,
syrup. So sure enough, I went on Amazon and I bought my own bottle of dye-free snow cone syrup for the next time, just in case. So it's like little things like that you, like little tricks to have in your back pocket. You just
oh,
learn along the
so
way to like be prepared for like. And I know I could totally tell her no, you can't have a snow cone, but like she's told no a lot sometimes of things she
yeah,
can't have. So I'm gonna let
right.
her have the snow cone.
of
Yeah.
course. And you want
Yeah.
her to not feel different
Right.
because
Right.
that can create a whole host of other problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Well, first of all, you're wearing the sweatshirt of the
I
documentary
am
that's
wearing
coming
the
out
sweatshirt.
in January that I can't
Mhm.
wait to see it. I
Yeah.
reached out to the makers and I hope they get back to me. I might have to just tag them every single day and blow them up. Be like, please, please, please come on our podcast. Please let us watch your movie. But what else? What other resources do you follow? I would love to follow them too.
So
I
the name of that documentary is called To Die For?
die for DYE.
Yeah.
They have a Instagram page. And then the
Mhm.
food babe, I know you said you follow her. Is there anyone else you follow that would is a good resource?
Those are my main go-tos.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of it is just my own. You know what? I do follow a group on Facebook. I think it's just dye-free swaps and tricks. It's a huge group on Facebook, and that's
Okay.
everyone just kind of shares their stories or like, hey, I found these at this store. If you're looking. So that is
So
definitely
does
another.
that must mean that there's a lot of people who are facing some kind of issue with food coloring.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
There's
That's
has to be.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Listen, I see kids at school and I just want to just wonder. Like they're kids and they're quote unquote the behavior problems and I want to be like,
Hmm.
what are you eating? I just want to know.
Yeah.
And you know
I know.
it's not probably good quality food. And I'm going to tell you as a lunch lady, the food we give is crap. It's crap. But I don't have the power to change that. I can't I
Well, it's not even just the behavior. It could be eczema, it could be asthma,
well, this
Mhm.
allergies.
is true
I
too.
mean, my kids with their hives. It,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
daughter still has issues. It's called urticaria, something unknown urticaria, which means basically she has an allergy to for no reason.
Mm.
Which
And
there's a
she's
reason.
an
Oh my
adult.
god.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So Wow, I think it's so fascinating that and I think as adults, we need to start paying attention to this too. And I love that you shared with us that it's 24 to 36 hours because sometimes we're like, "What well, I didn't even have that. I had it 2 days ago." Well, yeah, you could have had that. It
Yeah.
still could be affecting you. My husband
Mhm.
says that. He'll be like, "I haven't had Skittles in like a day." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, wow,
You had
24
them a day
full
ago, yeah.
hours." Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's amazing to me.
Well, it probably
Yeah.
takes that long to be digested and then for the stuff to be distributed throughout your body and then into your brain,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think.
Oh my god, it makes me crazy.
Mhm.
I just it anyway, go
It's
ahead.
What would
frustrating.
you what would you want other parents to know who may be facing similar situations?
Or grandparents too.
Oh, yes, anybody,
Yeah.
family
Okay.
members.
Yeah. No, I mean, you are not alone. You are not alone. And I know it might seem hard at first, especially to the kids, especially, telling them they can't have the same exact things that as their friends, or they can't buy those Doritos at lunch, or, it's okay. Like, you're not alone, and it will get easier down the road, and the benefit far outweighs the risk. Did I say that right? Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
know it's a daunting task to do, but it for us it was so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it. Yeah.
Wow.
I commend you because to do the investigation to figure this out and to put the pieces together on your own without any outside help,
Oh,
that's really impressive. Really.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think any parent, not I shouldn't say any parent, but any parent, you know what I mean? If there was something that we could do to help our get to the bottom of something, I think, we'd all.
But I don't know if we always go to the food. We always go to our parenting style or we're doing something
Yeah.
wrong as a
Mhm.
parent and it's might not be
Or something is medically wrong with my kid.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it might not even be any of the
Mhm.
like it could be some not, and it's not simple, but it's like one of I don't know. Am I even saying that? Do I talk make sense? I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
Yeah.
as
it's
parents, we blame ourselves for a lot.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like they had too much screen time that day. That was my fault. I let them
Right.
do it. Why they're yeah.
Right. And as an adult, guess what? I blame a lot of things too. I'm like, well, I'm over 40 now. So of course I can't sleep through the
Mhm.
night. Well, no. I ate a snow cone last night. You know what I mean? Or like, and I
Mhm.
think even as adults, it's affecting us and we don't pay attention to it because we blame it on our age or we blame it on I'm stressed at work or we blame it
Mhm.
on other things, and I think if we really pinpoint it, we could probably clear up a lot of the things that are going on. Maybe it's even brain fog, who knows? Like, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? And we
Yeah,
blame it on other things when it clearly could be the food dye. I mean, other countries
absolutely.
have banned it, so you know it can't be good.
Mhm. Mhm. I made a list of stuff that contains food dye. This is a very superficial list.
Okay.
There
Mhm.
must be 25 items on this list.
Okay, what are some of them?
I'm
Give me
gonna
some
read it really
examples.
fast,
Okay.
okay? Cereal, baked goods, yogurt, energy drinks, juice, soda, candy, fruit gushers, ice cream, ice pop, salad dressings, condiments, cheese, flavored applesauce,
Wait,
frosting, frozen dairy desserts, jello, microwave popcorn, oatmeal, packaged snacks, chewing gum, drugs, gelatin.
Mhm.
there was some on that list that shocked me. My salad
Yeah.
I
dressing?
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
and condiments.
Mhm.
Does ketchup?
I don't think ketchup. I think maybe some barbecue sauces do,
Oh,
depending on like the manufacturer. But
geez, oh man. Kamna, you might
yeah.
have
It
to
would
post that list.
there's no um like it's in everything. It's in
Mhm.
perfumes and shampoos like you were talking about. It's just in everything. And it's
Yeah.
staggering why it needs to be there.
Mhm.
It doesn't. Like
Doesn't.
it's like main purpose is to just make it more
Look
appealing,
pretty.
which is
Mhm.
it's pretty. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know that I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, that dye has been banned from makeup in a lot of
Mhm.
makeups.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not all,
I
but
believe you're right.
a lot of like red 40 is not allowed in makeup. It's
Yeah.
not safe for your skin, but it's
No, I
safe to
think
eat.
you're right.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, they're banning red dye. They may ban red dye 3, which is in candy, but they're not, and they haven't touched red dye 40 yet.
Which is
So
like,
even the variations in that is like, why don't you just do all of them?
I guess it's a
yeah.
start.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely a start for sure.
You
I feel
know?
like in the next few years though it will, like I just went on Amazon the other day to order more natural food colorings, like for
Mm.
Christmas cookies and stuff for the frosting. And there were so many that were sold out, which I thought was so
Oh,
great, that people were buying them. So, yeah, I feel like it's
wow.
very hopeful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're making me wanna order a food dye like that because my food dye is not, I'm sure, like, I guess, like, an all natural one is what I'm trying to say. Like, I need to
Yeah.
Yes.
get some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. Well, come to
Is
June.
there
Yeah.
well, I wanted to ask you, if you wanna share your social media because I think other people would love to hear your tips and tricks of what you're doing.
Uh, no, it's just MM_Townsend. I couldn't remember if it was a dash or an underscore, but yeah, MM_Townsend. And like I do share a couple, like, maybe like dye free snack boxes that we make because we're on the go a lot. So things that we can take that are quick and easy for her to eat, or like we have a Ninja Creamy. Um,
Oh,
so thankful to have
Ooh.
that to like make our own ice cream,
Do
because
mhm.
a
you
lot of that.
recommend that? Because
Yeah.
it is Christmas time. I'm just for gifts.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, and you can make any kind of ice cream that you want in any flavor and put anything you want in it. And I know what I'm putting in it that she can have, and
Mhm.
yeah,
And
Ooh.
it tastes better.
yeah,
It's better for everyone anyway.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you're
yeah,
right. I mean, some of that ice cream, we bought this thing at the dollar store because it's right at the corner of our street, this tub, and it didn't even look like ice cream. It didn't
Oh,
yeah,
melt. I
mm,
mean, but we needed ice cream in a hurry, so we got it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And it's like
yeah.
it sat out and it didn't like get smaller. And it was this Alyssa was like, "That's not even the color of ice cream." I'm like, "I don't know what dad bought,
oh
but
my.
it was probably the cheap one." Just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, sometimes that's what you reach for, but
I
if
It
know.
is. Yeah, my husband would reach for the same thing. The
Yeah.
big tub of vanilla with the blue
Yes.
handle. Yeah, that's
And
a
guess
yeah,
what? We ate it. So
yeah,
I'm just as bad. Like
yeah,
I'm like, okay, well, we ate it, we bought it, so we might as well eat it. Like, why do I do that? You know?
yeah, and I think Leah, you were right that it can show up in any number of ways. Like for you, you don't sleep well. For somebody else, it's like for your daughter, it's the
Behave.
tantrums,
Yeah.
behavior.
hmm
Like other things, it can show up in any number of ways, which I think is really important to remember. It doesn't have to be just an allergy
yeah.
symptom.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well,
so much for sharing your story. This has been
Oh,
fascinating,
you're
thank
honestly.
you so
welcome.
much, Mandy. I love that you're honest about it and you are sharing it because I think so many people need to hear it. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
No,
you.
thank you for having me. I
All
appreciate it.
right.